there is a very long and precious tradition in which the act of the gift, the act of generosity, is regarded as a practice, as an exploration. And the tradition of this is very, very long-standing, and perhaps what motivates us in the act of kindness, the act of giving, if we really go back a really long, long, long way in time with this long line of people, is that perhaps there is some deep sense inside of us that we haven't taken life, but somehow life in the forces of the nature has kind of been given to us, that we find ourselves as participating in this world. And we could say life is a gift, and it's not something that we chose to have. We didn't decide before birth, oh, I think I'll take birth. So it happened. The forces of life moved into this world, and we find too, I'm sure you do as well, that there's something rather lovely and precious again about giving. My young grandson, who's 9 years of age, he and my daughter, his mother, and the two little children were just walking home last winter, and one of those cold, wet nights, and on the street of Torquay there was this guy, poor, as there are many are in our cities, homeless, cold and begging. And my grandson looked at him and turned to his mum and said, "Oh, Mum, is he going to be out there all night?" And Shauna said, "Yeah, he could be, or he could be sleeping in some shop doorway or trying to find somewhere stay to dry." And then he said to her, and he had tears in his eyes, and he said, "I want to give my pocket money for the last month to him." And just kind of spontaneous act of the giving. And so Mother gave him the pocket money and to this poor man. And these acts of giving, so as I say, the traditions have acknowledged this, and with the word is dana, it means the act of generosity, the practice of giving. And it's regarded, understandably, as one of the most beautiful features of human beings, that we are able to give. And sometimes when we give love, that's one expression. We give our time, that's another expression. We give our skills, another. We give knowledge, another. We can give through the arts. We can give through service. Many, many ways that giving can take. We can give through money, of course. In the tradition of the Buddha, there is a line which has travelled through the centuries along the long line of teachers and yogis and practitioners. And it goes under, that which is freely received is freely given. It's a very lovely one line, so that when people come on the retreats, the various costs involved, many diverse kind of costs, and in some of the centres, including the ward house, after the travel expenses and other factors, as many of you know, we simply put the bowl out, and people give. And one is to give support to the centre itself. A second bowl is put out to give support to the staff, who receive a very modest stipend, who put in many, many hours to keep these places running. And if they were receiving a salary, a major, proper salary for the hours that they do, the cost would go, whoa. But with the staff giving so much time and support and it's receiving very modestly, then we all benefit because it helps to keep the daily rates that much lower. And in some places in the world, in India, we do everything on the dana, on the donations. In Israel, we do everything on the donations. The French yatra, the walk in France, the pilgrimage in the summer, we do it on the donations, yeah, and other things as well. But whatever the way that's used, it kind of works outside the usual. The usual, which is quite appropriate. One can teach meditation, offer therapy, offer workshops, and often it's exchange for services. This is the service that I provide, and this is the cost for the service. It's an exchange, it's an agreement, completely appropriate. And of course you are blessed because then you don't have to give this donation talk. But for those of us who live on the donations, we're obliged to give this talk. And then it's not so much in the exchange, it's through agreement, but it's a matter of just the heart and the giving and the sharing and the support. And the tradition of this has, as I say, gone for many, many centuries, gone along, and the understanding in the act of giving, the giving of dana, the giving of donations, is that for people, it gives the support for what we call the 4 basic requisites or essentials. Food, clothing, shelter, home, place to live. 3, and medicine when it's required. So that giving helps the whole process of events to take place, and it helps to make it more affordable. I've just been talking here with the ward house and finding some fresh ways to help people whose income is low, how they might be able to come on retreats here, even though the costs here are very, very modest, I must say, compared with some places, very modest. But still, can we find ways to give support to those who are unable to come? And these events, it's come because of the amount of giving that is going on. It's a great practice, and in its deeper understanding, it's a very liberating way of practice, the practice of the giving. And that giving that goes on has established the monasteries, the centres, many places and facilities. Has come because people give. It's important that you and I, we find ways to do that. And if one is very poor, then the dana may not be with money. And the dana is through time, it's through love, it's through skills, it's through knowledge, it's through support, it's through practical endeavour. And we need to explore, whatever our profession, and whatever we do, need to explore and encourage and endorse the way of giving. It genuinely brings a lot of real happiness. And it's a really revolutionary way of being in the world, because sometimes the view is taking comes first. And it's not in accordance with the rhythms